You know how many people abuse Medicaid and SNAP? Why are you against cutting waste and fraud? So actually fraud rates in these important programs, incredibly important programs, are actually incredibly low, less than 2% in both programs. And a lot of that in Medicaid actually comes from providers and not the individual low-income people needing the service.
So can I just add to that? So understand that what the Republicans are proposing right now is the biggest cut to Medicaid and SNAP in American history. And that cut is not targeted to something they want to call waste, fraud, and abuse. No, it takes away health care from half of newborn babies in this country and their mamas. It takes away access to wheelchairs for people with disabilities. It takes away the food that families need when it gets to be the end of the month and they've run out of money. That's the kind of cuts that the Republicans are trying to put in place. And yeah, they want to do a lot of hand waving about waste, fraud, and abuse because they don't want people to understand that they are cutting access to health care and to food for families across America. Also, they can give tax breaks to billionaires.
Do you have any thoughts on where the waste is actually happening and where we could save money?
Actually, I sent a letter to Elon Musk back in January and said, hey, here are places you could save $2 trillion, just like he started out. You want to know one of the big ones is Medicare Advantage. These guys are ripping off U.S. taxpayers to the tune of about $850 billion over 10 years. Think about that. Defense Department. Can we just stop with the business of, the little clip that costs $1, but the Defense Department pays $22 for it? Let's add the IRS to that. The IRS has the enforcement arm that makes sure that people pay what they actually owe. And frankly, most middle-class Americans just automatically do that. But really rich people, a lot of them are actually tax evaders. So the IRS has a special section that says we're going to go after those guys. For every dollar we spend on those IRS enforcement guys, they bring back $7 from millionaires and billionaires who just aren't paying what they owe. So what are Donald Trump and the Republicans doing? Naturally, they're cutting the IRS enforcement so that billionaires don't even pay the taxes they owe. Those are the places where there is true waste, fraud, and abuse, and we ought to really put our energy into stopping those. But healthcare for newborns and their mamas, wheelchairs for people with disabilities, food for people who are hungry, that's not waste, fraud, and abuse. That is a part of how we take care of each other as Americans.